The Spanish Announce Table.
It is episode 431 of the Spanish Announce Table, 431 on 420. But Tom, what is new?
Not much is new in the world of T-Mac, Tom, however you want to refer to me. However, we got a lot of great things going on with the show. And so before we get into our Dynamite recap, we always like to inform you on the ins and outs and things that are going on amongst the Table Nation. And so first off, as you can see from Tim and I, we are both wearing our Spanish Announce Table t-shirts, which again, you can get at Pro Wrestling Tees/Spanish Announce Table. We have it at a reasonable price. Everyone loves this shirt. Even people who do not know anything about wrestling will ask you, what is that? Everyone that I've worn this to work a couple times and people are like, what is that? And it's like, my podcast. Oh, really? Ooh. And then it starts a conversation. So if you want to start a conversation about pro wrestling, maybe find one of these pro wrestling fans that are hiding in the shadows, wear a t-shirt and you might get a new friend out of it and an awesome looking shirt.
Well, and here's the thing. Even if, like right now, like Tom said, it's up there. It's at a reasonable price. Maybe you see it and you're like, man, I wish they had this in black, or I wish they had it in red, or something along those lines. We can do that, but we need to sell a few of these first so they'll allow us to make some new designs. So go ahead and get this one, and then we'll bring more for you. You can get all the cool stuff.
Well, and I will say, I believe it's still available, but you can get a tank top of this shirt for the summertime. So sun's out, guns out, table out, and you can get this tank top of Spanish Announce Table. Again, Pro Wrestling Tees/Spanish Announce Table. That's item number one. Item number two, and this one's important. As Tim said off air, as we were talking about this show has been tied, for better or for worse, for the last 10 years with Twitter. Now, we are reasonable humans, Tim and I, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like it from my end. But as you may be reading in the news, Twitter is changing some of its policies, some of its decision-making, and it's not really for the best. So what we're going to tell you now is I will still be live tweeting while it is still engaging with our audience during AEW shows. That's Dynamite, Rampage, pay-per-views, and so on and so forth. Maybe a big WWE event from here and there, right? However, if you want to stay up to date with everything that we are doing at Spanish Announce Table, the absolute best way to do that is SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. Now, you're going to say, like, Substack, what's that? Substack is a really cool thing. It's a new platform, new-ish, I should say. It's been around for a little bit. And what you're going to get from us right now is all free content. So we got a lot of great things. Tim, every morning, is doing a pro wrestling news. Now that's Monday through Friday. We're not fucking psychopaths. Have a weekend to yourself. Monday through Friday.
Life, damn it.
Yeah, we have a life too. And then also you should as well.
We collectively have at least one life. Exactly.
Monday through Friday, you're going to get a pro wrestling news recap from the golden voice, the awesome voice of Tim. It's outstanding. I mean, it'll just start your day off right. And then also you're going to get some
it's like a smooth cup of coffee, you know?
Yeah. And speaking of smooth, my smooth brain will be picking out matches of the day. Sometimes some photos of the day of some action figure photography that I've been doing. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can obviously leave a comment on any of our Substack posts. And then going back to day one, what you could still do is send an email, tableshow@gmail.com. Now, with all that being said, we're going to get into some fun here. We actually got 2 questions over on Twitter, which again, we're still going to be using, but our focus is going to be mainly on Substack. So SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. Again, it'll get sent to your email, so you can just get it right there when you're waking up, checking your emails. Or if you want to go visit the site, that's where you can leave a comment, like it, all that stuff. But Twitter is where we got a couple questions. And so, Tim, I think you got those queued up, correct?
Yes. No, but while we get them queued up, I want to shout out the chat in the YouTube. But right now we got My Block's Strongest Man. He says, "What up, T-Mac?" And then he asked again for the link to the T-shirt because he says he needs a good T-shirt. So I sent him that link because, I mean, you know, everybody should do that. So So, stalling
I'm
here as
actually-
I pull up the yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know what? I actually need to pull up our YouTube because I forgot my phone. I'm getting old. I'm getting to the age, ladies and gentlemen, probably lady and gentlemen, that I'm forgetting my phone everywhere because it's not that important to me. I am starting to spend less and less time. I have an iPhone. Tim, I know you have an Android. Do you have that like weekly report of screen time? Apple does it. Do you get that on your phone?
I don't get like a weekly report. I can go into the settings and check.
And look at it. I get one every Sunday. And for the last 3 weeks, I am proud to say, as someone who's trying to disconnect from the nonsense, but still stay connected to you, Table Nation, I continue to go down about 10% each week.
We want fun nonsense, right? That's what the pro wrestling is for. That's what
Yes.
this community is for. It's fun nonsense. We don't need the real nonsense going on over there. We need some of that to stop, right? But fun nonsense, that's what we're here for, and that's what we hope to provide you. And one of our longtime friends of the show, I mean, might have been listening on episode 1, Ash Hendricks here, brought up 2 questions on Twitter, which, by the way, you can get on Twitter. You can ask us questions directly there, like Tom said. Or you can always use hashtag tweet the table. Those get compiled, and I get a list each week, and then I'll put up some graphics, and you'll become famous because of us right here on the Spanish Announce Table. Ash Hendricks said, if you were to start a promotion, which 6 wrestlers, present day, any company, would you sign first?
All right. So I love this question. And again, this is the kind of stuff that we're really happy to talk about. We can obviously talk about, what you're seeing on TV week to week, or you can throw us some curveballs like this, which again is right in my wheelhouse. I love compiling lists, coming up with my favorites, least favorites, all that stuff. So Tim, actually, I'm going to throw a curveball at you for a future assignment. Came from a loyal listener, my wife, who said we should do, in conjunction with Raw, we should do our own fantasy draft. So they're obviously doing a real draft. They're just doing WWE. She proposed, what if we could just go across all promotions and we have our own promotion? Now, the number, she didn't give me a number and I didn't really think of one. The first one that came to mind was 20, but that may be too much. But a future episode, maybe next week, maybe the following week, let's do a fantasy draft.
Or maybe we could do a exclusive Substack for subscribers. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of cool stuff that we.
Yeah, there you go. So look for that. We're gonna kind of. I threw that on air as a curveball to Tim, but I think we're gonna do a fantasy draft.
We'll talk shop
in conjunction with the WWE draft. Again, ours is going to be across all promotions. So all that sidebar aside, you want to do 1 and 1, 2 and 2 as far as our picks for the top 6?
Yeah, sure. Who's your number 1 pick? Let's say Tom gets the first pick because he always lost the pay-per-view pick. So he's got the number 1 seed. Right.
Well, let's hold on. Asterisks there. I always lost the AEW picks. I kicked your ass in WWE because you always thought John Cena was turning heel. So
yeah.
Let's go back to the day. I was killing it.
Before we get into this, Jeffrey Sills in the chat says, what's going on, boys? Sorry I'm late. Can you believe it's 4:20 and I'm not high? I mean, is that because you decided to take a break on 4:20, or is it just like a standard thing for you now? Are you like living an adult life? And, no shame in your game, right? Like some of us, we got to grow up sometimes.
Speaking of 420, there's a From the Earth dispensary that's right down the street from me. It's about 5 minutes away. Ric Flair was doing a meet and greet at the From the Earth. He has his own marijuana. It's called Ric Flair Drip.
Nice. Ric Flair Drip. Yeah, Missouri. That's fun. That you can just
Kansas
walk right in and get whatever you want,
Yeah, well, Kansas, I can go make money and hop over to the other state and make all my sports bets. So
Jeffrey Sill says my weed man isn't picking up. Yeah, that sucks. So yeah, he's in a state where not so bueno, right? Like Kansas, you can't do it down there where Jeffrey Sills is, can't do it. But Tom can. But like I said, Tom, there is 5 minutes from my house an entrance onto the interstate. It just so happens to be the first exit off of the interstate across the Kansas state line. So every day when I happen to go onto that interstate, there is a line of cars that are presumably placing their sports bets right there. Because you got to be in Kansas, right? The location's got to be in Kansas.
Yeah. My wife has never loved that Kansas has sports betting and Missouri doesn't, because I take her now almost every Saturday to the French market because it's on the Kansas side, and I make my bets and I buy her lunch or breakfast or brunch, but she's getting a free meal because I need to make my bets.
That's great. The reason I like talking
right.
about Jeffrey Sills, not just because he's a huge fan of the show and friend, but he is also de facto, again, the beer sponsor of the week. He sent us money last week to buy some beers, and we didn't drink them all. So two-time beer sponsor of the week. I mean, more than 2 times, but consecutive 2-time beer sponsor of the week.
And I know we're going on a side quest. And Ash, we are going to get to your top 6 picks. But if you do recognize, Jeffrey, this is the regular Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull IPA. As you may notice from last week, I had the double IPA. Very good. This is the single IPA. And if I'm being honest with you, if you're into IPAs, I think I prefer the double. Has a little bit more full flavor for me.
I mean, if you're going to go, you go whole ass, right?
Whole ass. So, hey, let's get into this because I know Ash asked the question, and so we need to answer it. So
Tom and I are both starting pro wrestling companies. The WWE and AEW have been kicked off, Tony Khan and Vince McMahon, all of them have been, they'd all died in a car accident or something. Mm-hmm. And so now it's Tom and I taking over. Tom, who's your first pick?
Yes, I'm going to make my picks, and then afterwards, there's going to be some glaring omissions from me, but I can explain it later. So I just want to say that on the front end. But for my first pick, this one's an easy one. If you've listened to this show for any number of weeks, you know who my absolute favorite human being on this planet is, and I'm going with him with my number 1 pick. It is obviously Eddie
Cody
Kingston.
Rhodes. No. Okay, right, yeah.
Eddie Kingston.
Eddie MFing Kingston. Mm-hmm. He's the best. He is the absolute best. You scored a blue chipper, right, by drafting
and you
Eddie
know
Kingston,
why?
number 1.
Here's the reason why I went with my number 1 pick for Eddie Kingston is because of the versatility. You need to have some dastardly heel that will kind of bend the rules, Eddie Kingston. You need some underdog, lovable baby face who needs to fight underneath, Eddie Kingston. You need someone to cut a promo of this promotion sucks or this is the best promotion in the world, Eddie Kingston. So for the versatility, I think Eddie Kingston's the absolute best. And then again, he's my personal favorite. So Eddie Kingston, number 1 for me. Tim, what do you got?
All right. With my first pick, then, I'm going to go with somebody that everybody will hate, and therefore I can build a bunch of lovable stars because of this person who everybody hates.
Sasha Banks.
It's I want you to love to hate him, and it's MJF. Yeah. I'm taking the top heel in the industry for my number 1 pick. Easy money.
That is a great
I mean, it's that, right? We've seen he wrestles a amazing match, right? We've talked about this, really underrated, because if you're ranking like what does he do well, it's all the promos, right? It's the heat, and everybody, that's all anybody wants to talk about. But then he puts on these great bangers when the match is on. I also feel like he gets it where he doesn't got to go out there every night and put on that great match. He just works you up into a frenzy to want to see him get his ass kicked and then puts on a great match.
I agree. That's a good pick. Very good pick. All right. So for my second pick, I'm going with, for better or for worse, I can't deny it, this next guy has the it factor. Even when he sucked and was doing suffering succotash promos, he still had this aura. When he walked into the room, you go, that's the fucking man right there. And right now, again, it's the number 1 company as far as eyeballs and interactions on social media and all the nonsense that our advertisers are looking at. Now, caveat, I'm not going to have him do this current schedule. He's doing every fucking week. But I am going with my second pick, Roman Reigns.
Solid pick. I mean, he's your tribal chief. You must acknowledge him. So why wouldn't you pick him? Right. You might have to answer to why you didn't pick him first.
To have him take that up with Eddie Kingston. Motherfucker will find out first.
My block strongest man in the chat says Tim, you told Tom that Sasha Banks is my favorite female wrestler, right? He can't be that much of a mind reader. Oh, we don't share the love for Sasha Banks here in the Table Nation, at least on the Spanish announce table. Some of the Table Nation
I'll say this.
love Sasha.
Yeah, and I'll say this. My visceral hate for her has dissipated a lot because of what she's doing outside of WWE. It seems like she is a legit wrestling fan. Now, some of her views I can still disagree with, but bygones let bygones be bygones, as they say.
I was going to say, don't buy guns.
No. But I will say the Sasha Banks, fuck out of here. Anyhow, so there you go. All right, so you went. Who was you? Who'd you go with? You said
you went number 2.
I went number 2. Yeah,
Roman
you haven't
Reigns.
gone yet. Okay, I want Roman Reigns.
So number 2, I'm going with the best tag team in the world.
Okay.
The best tag team in the world, not named Tim and Tom. The Usos. I'm getting Jimmy and Jay. I'm getting them a driver, but I'm getting Jimmy and Jay, and they are going to be in my promotion. Getting them a bus. Somebody else is driving them.
Yeah, that's a great pick. They're really good. I mean,
day one-ish.
I considered taking them because of the versatility again, because, you want to have a rap battle, they'll do that, right? Remember how they eviscerated and demolished New Day?
Second only to Bo Rida.
Faces? Yeah. Oh, God. He might be up there. But if you need great baby faces, they've done that. You need heels. Obviously, they're doing that right now. You need some
main event
conflicted.
Jay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need some conflicted baby faces. Jay's there for you. So that is a great pick. Number 2, you go with the Usos. I like it.
Before we get into the third pick, my Block Strongest Man says, first Bret Hart and now this, referring to Sasha Banks. Said, I'm trying so hard to be your friend. Yeah.
Hey, hold on. My Block Strongest Man. Rap battle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, we're right there on rap battle.
Right,
okay?
yeah, right. Yeah.
I know we're talking wrestling. We can set that aside for a little bit. Battle rap right here, okay?
Battle
Me and
raps.
you, bud.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll just talk more about battle raps and we'll talk about the Bret Harts, all right?
Yeah. A-Ward versus Big K. Did you see that one? That was a good battle not too long ago. Okay. Man, it brought out Big K. Man, he fucking killed A-Ward. And I love A-Ward. A-Ward's from Kansas City. Shout out. Anyhow, my third pick. Just as I said with Roman Reigns having that it factor. Now, people might be sleeping on it and forgot. But here's a remind you motherfuckers of the coolest fucking guy in the room. My third pick, I'm taking Shinsuke Nakamura.
Really?
You motherfuckers forgot Wrestle Kingdom 9, that goddamn entrance. He's fucking Queen and Mike Tyson.
10 years ago now?
Oh, he can still fucking do it. I'm just saying Wrestle Kingdom 9 is where he blew my mind off.
So Shinsuke to me feels a lot like, and you've used this reference before, to me it feels a lot more like U2, right? Whereas I don't want to put in a U2 CD, old guy reference, and listen to a bunch of U2 songs on my way to the grocery store. But if you're like, hey, I got some U2 tickets at Arrowhead, you want to go? I'm like, absolutely, I want to go to that, right? Because Arena Rock, they're going to put on all the lights, all the stage show, right? They're going to put out all the speakers, and it's going to be a great time when you're in that moment. That's how I feel about Shinsuke. Like, if we go live, right? If we were like, hey, let's go to WrestleMania, and we're ramp side, and he comes down doing his, spazzing out on cocaine overdose dance, we're going to love that. I don't need to see it each week in a storyline. Right?
Well,
like it just.
So here's a couple reasons why. Again, I think he's the coolest guy in the room. I also want diversity. As you've seen, my first 3 picks, not white guys, right? So I'm trying to go with, hey, let's push some different faces as faces of a promotion. Also on top of that, hey, look, if I'm trying to make international money, you know who I make it with? Fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. You know what I mean?
It's a solid
MJF
pick.
Can't
it's a solid pick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock you.
Love Nakamura.
You're not going wrong when you pick Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, my number 3 pick, I'm going to go over to the ladies' side because you need to start building out a good women's division, right? I mean, you can feature that. That's a lot of your main events sometimes. And I'm going with the hottest star in women's wrestling, You get the awesome wrestling. You get the great promos. You get some free dental work when stuff's going wrong, when your tooth hurts a little bit, right? You just do it right there in the
Backstage.
office, man.
Yeah.
It's
Backstage.
great. Britt Baker. And every time you go to Pittsburgh, you're going to get a loud pop.
Yep. Hey, let's get back into the comments real quick before we get back into the draft. This is a lot of fun. Again, you guys can ask these questions and we'll do it each and every time.
Join us live. YouTube, Spanish Announce Tube, right? YouTube.com/Spanish Announce Tube. Subscribe.
Yeah, so
Love
my Block Strongest Man said, yes, we are friends, referring to me and him, so thank you.
Nice.
I hear your love about Charlie Clips. Love Charlie Clips. What room am I in? Oh, my God. R.I.P. Pat Stay. Yes, unfortunately, that was very sad. The tribute show was amazing. Roan and Dumbfounded. That was an amazing battle. Mount Rushmore. Of course, yeah, Pat Stay's up there. And then he says, and I forgot about this one. Here's again where I'm going to have to explain some of the people that I left off. He said, Shinsuke is the second coolest man in the world. Swerve is number one. I mean, I can't really argue against that.
Correct. But
And then,
if the draft was picked the 6 coolest wrestlers, we would have done Swerve number
right,
1.
of course. Now, here's the curveball that I got so excited about. Now, again, Jeffrey Sills, my Block Strongest Man, anyone who joins. Theo's joined in the past. I absolutely love it. Justin Floor has joined in the past. Brian J. Bay has joined. But we get a day one-ish, a former guest on this show. The Iceman says, hi, fellas. It's the Iceman. Hell yeah. Here's a little.
The party is always cooler when the Iceman comes in. And look at that. My Block Strongest Man says, yo, Spanish Announce Table t-shirt purchase done. Can't wait for it to arrive. Anybody just tuning in, we tried to tell you earlier, we are both wearing the example. You can go to ProWrestlingTees.com and pick you up a Spanish Announce Table shirt at ProWrestlingTees.com/Spanish Announce Table. It's that easy. Very, very well priced, right? It's a steal. It's not a steal. You got to pay something for it, but you get what I'm saying. But we are doing right now, thanks to Ash Hendricks. I want to get his Twitter handle correct, right? Go to Twitter at AshHendricks92 has asked us some questions. And this question that we're running down right now, and by the way, everybody join in on the YouTube chat live Thursday nights when we're doing these podcast episodes. He says, if you're starting a new promotion right now and you had a draft of anybody in any promotions, who are your top 6 picks? And Tom and I are going back and forth, and we're on pick 4 now?
Yep, and we're going to do a recap of our top 5 after we're done here. But yeah, so for my number 4, again, anyone who's listened long enough will have heard this a million times, but the guy that pulls on my heartstrings more than anyone else, I think the truest, best babyface going in pro wrestling right now, cowboy shit. It is Hangman Adam Page as my 4th pick. And again, versatility in the ring. He's kind of he can, again, give you some versatility as far as his character, but more so in his matches. You need to do the high flying, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, can do it. You want a death match? He just proved he can do it with Moxley. So I like that as well, as he can give you versatility in the ring. And again, the vulnerability, just absolutely love it.
Oh, and here's where, right out of the gate, your first storyline is he's down on himself for why he was only the 4th pick. Like, what did I do wrong that I wasn't the 2nd pick? I get not being 1. I mean, that makes sense. Look at me. But what? I could have got number 2. What happened there?
Yeah.
Love it.
Right there.
Love it.
Love it.
Yes.
All right, who's your 4th pick?
Hangman. My 4th pick is somebody who always gets it right. Always knows just how to capture the hearts of the fans. It's Sami fucking Zayn. Sami Zayn is underused everywhere he goes. He's a genius when it comes to just this pro wrestling gig, and I'm taking Sami Zayn. Yep, taking Sami Zayn number 4.
That's a great pick. I love Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has been my day one. You know, even back in the NXT days, I was telling you how great Sami Zayn is. Love Sami Zayn. That is a good pick. Very good pick. All right. So, Tim, kind of borrowing off of your MJF pick, where you said, hey, you want a good promo, you want a good headlines, obviously, well, and obviously MJF is going to give you the holy shit. Did you hear what he said about fill in the blank, right? That's what I'm going for here. And I need a tag team. So the tag team I'm going with is the battle rappers themselves, the Acclaimed. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. Scissor me. How many?
Does that come with
last
daddy ass?
night. Yes, it has to. That's that's a package.
Damn.
So, yeah, all of the raps that he does each and every week, Max Caster, that is, the versatility and great in-ring work from Anthony Bowens, the fucking massive mastodon grandpa Billy Gunn still doing it, and then you got the scissoring. You got each week you're going to get a funny line. You're going to get a line that might make people up in arms.
Oh yeah, all sorts of social
there.
media content coming out of the Acclaimed camp for sure, right?
Oh yeah,
100%. Great pick. Man, I hate some of your picks because I should have picked them.
You should.
All right, my next pick then coming in at number 5. Then I'm taking somebody who I feel like. Are we on 4? No, I just did 4 with Sami Zayn, right? I did. Yep.
No, you did. Oh, yep. I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry.
5.
Yep.
I'm picking somebody who I'm not putting him at the level of, let's say, Patrick Mahomes, right? But you know how us being Chiefs fans, we hear all the time, hey, remember you're watching greatness, right? Like, don't forget, don't look back 20 years and be like, oh, man, why did I? Like, you're watching the good times. This wrestler, I feel like, is so good, but has just been so good for that long that it kind of gets lost in expectancy. And I'm going Seth minus the freaking Rollins, right?
Yeah.
He's a guy who you can put him in your mid-card level, but he's every bit of a world heavyweight champion. He can do all of the heel, he can do all of the face, he can do all of the promo work. He can get you to hate him, right? He can say stuff where you're going to want to spit on him. He can do all the dastardly stuff. He can do the shit bag. I'm afraid of everybody heel. He does everything at an A to A+ level. Seth Rollins.
Definitely. Yeah, and another person where you need him to do Entertainment Tonight, you need him to do the Today Show as part of like the face of your promotion. He's 100% doing that because he can kill that as well. So, all right. So we're going with my 5th pick, and I've gone pretty heavy on the guys, and that kind of stinks on me because I should be better. And so I got the you put her on a poster and she's a fucking star before she even walks into the goddamn ring. I'm putting in the most physically impressive wrestler, man, woman, what non-fluid gender, whatever you want to call it, the most impressive physique in all of pro wrestling. It's not Tony Nese. It's not Chris Masters or, going back in the day, Chris Masters. It's Jade Cargill. She is a star. She is a blue chipper. She has all the makings of put her on any morning, the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne, the God. You could put her there. You want to put her anywhere on like the Today Show, all that stuff. And then look at her. She's the fucking best looking person in wrestling, bar none. Jade Cargill.
That's excellent. I mean, I think she's destined for some greatness here, and I think we are just yet to scratch the surface with Jade Cargill, and I'm excited to see what happens. And yeah, that's a great pick. For my 6th pick, I'm going to throw a curveball at you too. This is maybe not, looking for a future up-and-comer. This is not, maybe the top star, but I feel like this is a great utility player, an all-around utility player. I'm going with The Miz. I'm going with The Miz because you got your Radio Row guy, right? You need somebody to do Dancing with the Stars. You got The Miz. You got the reality TV show. You got The Miz. You've got that real world notoriety with The Miz. And Miz is that guy where, oh, crap, MJF's out for 6 months with a torn shoulder. Miz steps in, right? Seth Rollins is out 3 months with a busted knee. Miz steps in. Miz, number 6 pick for me. What? Think about somebody tearing a quad? Shane McMahon tears a quad. You can throw The Miz in there. All you have to say is quad in Tom's presence anymore. He just giggles like this for 30 minutes. He has like an oxygen tank nearby so he can recover.
Well, I was just thinking, I was like, well, this year he hosted
He did host WrestleMania. Had a hell of a match with Pat McAfee.
With Snoop Dogg.
Had a hell of a match with Snoop Dogg. Shane McMahon showed up for a cup of coffee and a hell of a doctor's bill. A hell of a surgeon's bill, man. Them checks to Dr. James Andrews ain't cheap. I'm sure of it.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right. So let's recap real quick. Our top 6. I'll go first. So my top 6, I went Eddie Kingston, Roman Reigns, Shinsuke Nakamura, Hangman Adam Page, The Acclaimed, and Jade Cargill.
Mm-hmm. So with my 6, and we've got Jeffrey Sills in the chat says Tom with 2 tag teams, and it's not FTR or the Bucks. And the Iceman says, my opinion, best tag team going today, FTR. So my 6 were MJF. Picking MJF number 1 because you're going to have the best heel in the industry. Usos, because the Usos are the best tag team in the world. No offense to the Iceman. You know, I know he thinks FTR, but it's the Usos. Then Britt Baker, DMD, because you've got one of the hottest acts in women's wrestling, and you get the free dental hookup, right? Then you got Sami Zayn, because it's Sami fucking Zayn, right? Who's going to turn down Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn can do it all. Seth Rollins also can do it all. And The Miz does it all, but does it all for the paparazzi cameras, right?
Well, he can also, I mean, let's not forget that impassioned promo on Talking Smack that he did. He also,
Miz is only the 2-time Grand Slam champion or something like that, right? Like
he just beat Lashley, what was it, a year and a half ago for the championship. So yeah, I mean, he can still go today. Not a problem. So I had a couple outside looking ins that I just wanted to mention before we move on to the second question. And this is why. I'm going to tell you why. Because for one of them, it's too violent. If we're going to be on national TV, as much as I love the violence, you're not going to get Home Depot as a sponsor when a pizza cutter's coming up on someone's head. So Nick Gage was an outside looking in. Really loved Nick Gage, but just couldn't do it that. Then I have Danhausen, and I love Danhausen, but you can't, for the top 6, like the foundation of your company, you really can't do Danhausen as world champion. I mean, you possibly could, but it wouldn't be long lasting. Also, Mark Briscoe. Absolutely love Mark Briscoe. But right now, we don't know what Mark Briscoe is after the unfortunate incident. So that's a wait and see, but he's definitely on the radar. So if we were to do top 12, 3 of those guys would get in there, as long also with, you took them, but Britt Baker and the Usos, those were also heavy considered, and FTR. So,
well, the Iceman asked no Adam Cole in your picks, and
yeah,
Adam Cole's, I feel like I've said this before, like I feel like if Adam Cole were here and we were hanging out, he'd be a swell guy. He'd be super cool. I'd want to hang out with him. I wish I'd probably be as cool as he is, right? But to me, and I get it, people are behind him. Everybody does the thing and everybody wants to see him. I just don't get moved. It's like how you attributed the Jeff Hardy thing over the years, where you were like, I get it. I get why all of you like him. Just not my thing, right? I also don't it's not a thing that makes me sick to my stomach either, right? I'm not like, oh, I can't believe you like that. It's just kind of one of those, oh, okay, you like that? All right, cool. That's kind of how I feel about Adam Cole. So it could be in consideration for a top 6. I mean, I definitely put him in that top 10 pick range, maybe, right? If you're going across the board, especially if you're having others pick as well, right? Because then he's somewhere in that top 20, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. And again, we're going to try to workshop a fantasy draft. So you might see Adam Cole in one of our fantasy drafts as we coincide with the WWE draft. And again, ours is going to be different because it's going to be cross promotions, AEW, WWE, Impact, all of that stuff. So Adam Cole for me, the only thing that I would do is I'd have to have a real conversation with them and say, we're changing your look. You're not wrestling in underwear. You see Matt Riddle over there? Matt Riddle has the fucking body to wrestle in underwear.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
So that would be if he's not willing to
t-shirt is good enough for
that,
Sting.
Right. Well, pants is good enough for Seth Rollins. It's good enough for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
If he's not willing to budge on that, then he ain't getting in. So yeah.
And this is what we love about Ash Hendricks 92. That's at Ash Hendricks 92 on Twitter, where we're at Table Show for as long as Twitter may exist. Maybe even shorter than as long as Twitter exists. We'll make that decision when we need to bail, jump from the Titanic. But hit us up with these kind of questions. You can also do that. If you're not on Twitter or don't want to be anymore, we have the SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com, which we need you to go subscribe to. Totally free. Maybe in the future we'll have some for pay content, but we're not there yet, right? We just need to sign up so that we're getting distributed, right? So hit us up with these kind of questions because, you know, we go chronologically through a breakdown of Dynamite each week, but this is the fun stuff, right? We want a community of friends. We want some wrestling friends. We want to talk back and forth. Ash Hendricks hit us up with another question on Twitter because he's fucking awesome, Tom. And along these same lines where he had us draft, right, the top 6 that we could pick, he says, if you could pick one wrestler from WWE and then AEW to go to the other company, who would you pick and why? And I'm assuming this is a swap is what he means, right? This is what we approach this as, a trade, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go first on this one, right?
Awesome.
To WWE, I'm sending Wardlow. And we're going to talk about Wardlow more in our AEW recap. But I feel like he's a tailor-made for there, right? Where they can take a guy who maybe doesn't have it all figured out yet and isn't quite there from the charisma standpoint yet and keep hammering it until it works. Think Roman Reigns, right? Now, I'm not trying to say Wardlow can become Roman Reigns, but he can get closer than I think he's going to get here in AEW. And I think I'm sending Wardlow over there in the trade for Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn is going to hit a ceiling in WWE. We've said it, even with Triple H, if he's really fully in charge of creative, as they say, even they're just never going to put him as the guy on the side of the truck, right? It's like he might be on the side of the truck, but he's not the guy on the side of the truck, right? Yeah. And so I'm swapping Sami Zayn over to AEW because then I feel like we can get world title runs out of Sami Zayn in AEW.
Well, and a lot of familiarity, right? He has all of those PWG matches with Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. Obviously in WWE, he was very familiar with Bryan Danielson. So yeah, you throw him in there and it's like he's not a fish out of water because he's wrestled all these guys 100 times before.
Jeffrey Sills, before you get into your two that you'd swap here, he says, I dare Tom to draft an Impact guy. If you had to draft an Impact guy, who are you taking? You even know who's
right now? Right now, like, hey, we're Bully Ray. He's fucking still that good.
Bully Ray. I would pick because he just re-signed with it, and I know it because of the news. By the way, check out Pro Wrestling's Best News each morning, weekday morning. I'm taking Nick Aldis out of Impact.
Oh, that's a good pick. Yeah, Nick Aldis. Yeah. Obviously, Josh Alexander, he's really good. I think he was the A side of the tag team with him and Ethan Page, even though I think Ethan Page is really good. There's some Impact people. I like Deonna Purrazzo, the new champ. She's really good. There's people. I know my Impact, homie. Come on. What up?
All right. So now, if you're going to do a trade, you're going to force a trade between AEW and WWE. What do you got?
Okay, so on one end, I'm going to give them the thing that they've been wanting for since the start of their promotion. And on the other end, I'm giving something that is highly needed. So that's what I'm going to say on the front end of my trade. And this is the trade, and I will explain. To AEW, I am sending Bobby Lashley. Now, I'm also teaming Bobby Lashley with Don Callis because he ain't fucking talking. So it's Don Callis managing Bobby Lashley.
What's Bobby Lashley doing with Don Callis? Like, what's the gimmick? What's the character persona?
Oh, just a paid hitman. Just a Don Callis is in here because Kenny Omega fucked him over and left him high and dry.
I'd almost go back to that Impact where he's got like the sweatband and he's like, I'm the shit. I'm the coolest motherfucker around. And then Don Callis is like, he is the coolest motherfucker around, right? Like almost the same Kenny Omega Don Callis dynamic, but with Bobby Lashley.
Exactly. And the whole angle coming in is that Bobby Lashley's here to take out Kenny Omega because Kenny Omega turned on Don Callis, right? The other reason, and this is what I was explaining with it's badly needed in this promotion, is let's just call it what it is. Let's address the elephant in the room. He's a black guy. You know how many black guys have challenged for the AEW World Championship so far?
None.
Fucking zero in 3 years. 3 years plus.
Not looking good.
That's not good. That's not good. And so I'm bringing someone in on that top end that can go right in there. You know what I mean? Keith Lee obviously could have, but I'm just saying Bobby Lashley definitely can't. Now, on the other end, I'm going to send Hangman Adam Page to WWE. And this is why. Hangman can do all of the fun matches with the Seth Rollins and all of that. But look at the promotion's history. They have so badly wanted a fucking cowboy to be their guy. You give Hangman Adam Page the WWE,
cowboy.
but you give him the WWE budget to do these entrances.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But now they can modernize it with the millennial cowboy.
Yeah,
but that's where we go. But what do we get? Is it cowboy stuff because we lose cowboy shit?
Yes, it's Seth freaking Rollins. We'll figure it out.
It's
you know what I mean?
stuff.
We'll figure out. Yeah,
cowboy stuff.
Cowboy things. Here we go. It's a cowboy life. That's what they probably say. It's a cowboy life, you know? And he'd be the best.
And then they hit Chicago and they can't stop the crowd from chanting cowboy shit and they have to like turn down the crowd noise.
But he leans into it. He's like, this is fucking cool, right? Because he's that kind of a guy. You know what I mean? So, and he's a well-adjusted human. And I think that's neat in WWE because they're all psychopaths over there. So hopefully he doesn't get corrupted, but he's a well-adjusted person that I really enjoy.
I would miss the Hangman
outside of wrestling. Yeah, I would totally miss him. But man, imagine the fucking 35 horses riding alongside him going into Ford Field. You know what I mean? Like the entrances would be amazing.
Cowboy things. Yeah. Cowboy
exactly.
things.
Oh, and imagine the action figures that would come with the fucking horses and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be out.
Oh, and they would put him in all kinds of tasseled out cowboy gear.
I mean, he wears
looking all Shawn Michaels up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you sell cowboy hats, all the stuff. Yeah, totally. 1
Boots with spurs and stuff.
Uh-huh. Come on. Oh, well, you couldn't do it, but you get little toy guns like the Smoking Guns had, you know? Yeah.
You can't do that now.
You can't do that now. But
Fanatics
it would be
is
great.
doing it. Maybe Fanatics will do it. No, it's on them. You saw that in the
Who
news.
knows? Yeah.
Fanatics is running it, so maybe they'll sell toy guns.
I did hear that in the news. I heard it on the news that was given to me by you at
Pro Wrestling's Best News.
SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com. Totally did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, so now let's get into a recap here. We are going to get into a recap of our favorite weekly show. That is AEW Dynamite. And last night was a show. We'll get into a little bit of how we felt about that. It started with
it was a show.
Pillars. It was a show. It happened. Okay. It aired on television. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it was kind of standard, but each guy got interrupted. And eventually we got 3 of the 4 pillars. So we got Jungle Boy, we got Sammy Guevara, we got Darby Allin. They're walking in here and they're trying. This is where I kind of felt like the show was the entire time, like a little bit above neutral, where the car was moving, but not that quick. So they cut all these promos, but Tim, what did you think about what was said and how it went down?
I honestly was liking it. I mean, I like where they were going, right? And I like that this time we got MJF out of the mix, right? It was the other 3 going at it, and there was a lot of personal stuff, right? It kind of felt like some of it was like, man, you really believe that, right? Like they were allowed a little bit of a leeway to just kind of go out there and make it feel real, right? I don't like, and of course, chronologically, we get MJF to come out and say like, here's what's going to happen, right? We're going to get this tournament, but somebody's going to get a bye because there's 3 of you. Then it's 2-on-1, and I thought, man, for one more week, you could have just done it as a round robin, right? Like everybody wrestles everybody, then whoever wins out of that, and then you just write it to make sure somebody wins. And of course, maybe this still isn't the actual end game, right? Maybe we still get this fatal 4-way. Because of whatever happens, because of shenanigans, right? So I don't want to bite too much into why I dislike that, but it just feels weird. Like, you don't do bracket-style tournaments when there's 3 people involved, right? Like, that's not how it works. Well, not 3 to get to 4th, right? Like, that's a weird scenario.
So I'll say this. So first, before we get to MJF, I felt like it was very interesting and very fun to see a dynamic of Darby Allin and Jungle Boy essentially saying like, I don't like you. They're the baby faces. Pro wrestling trope would say they're going to align together because they're doing this for the good
I respect you.
Pro wrestling. Yeah. Nope.
You're a competitor. You got heart.
Yeah. This was Darby Allin saying, you're coddled little bitch, the California clique. You suck. I don't like you. I like Sammy Guevara more than I like you. And then Jungle Boy saying, you're fucking rude and you're a fraud. Bitch. Yeah, and you're a fraud. And all this
Like, you
paint
don't
and
want to
makeup
be
is
here. You
fucking
just can't skateboard. So you fucking,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
suck. And I like, and then this is what I like is, and then he goes, and I like Sammy Guevara more than I like you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Sammy Guevara, his is the most interesting dynamic because he is, for as much as we can tell outside of knowing everything else, he's a babyface in this whole thing. He's presenting himself now. We'll talk about the main event. It kind of switches it on its head. But in these promos, the last week and then into this week, he's doing the, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to be champion. I can do this. I'm the best. Right. And he kind of said that this time again, where he's like, Darby, me and you, we just keep on one-upping each other. And guess what? I'm going to be the one that comes out on top. And then he says to Jungle Boy, you were picked and we weren't. And so that sucks. And we're going to be better than you because we are, right? And then, as you mentioned, MJF comes out. Now, here's what I'll say about the MJF part. I understand pro wrestling as far as to get to the champion, we've got to jump through all these hoops, right? To their credit, they didn't do the 5 stages of MJF again, where he's done it to Cody and he did it to Jericho, which was done best with Jericho. And then he just did it to Bryan Danielson. So it wasn't the 5 levels of MJF, right? However, yeah, this felt weird. I would have done a different main event and then said next week, a triple threat, Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy versus Sammy Guevara, winner gets me at Double or Nothing. Like that would have been round robin as well as would have been good. But like, I would have just done a triple threat to then determine who the winner is, right? I don't know. And then on top of that, kind of what I was alluding to, all 3 of these guys gave good promos, but it felt like they didn't really know what they were going to say until they were out there. And then they were like, oh, I said that he was a California clique. Like Darby kind of had a couple moments where he's like, haha, see what I said? That was, and same with Jungle Boy and same with Sammy. So they weren't the best.
And maybe it wasn't
promos.
exercise in that. Maybe, the producer said, hey guys, go out there and just fucking say something. We're not giving you a script.
Mm-hmm.
Sack up and go figure it out. Why don't you like this guy? I know you don't really like him. Right? Like we can all sense it. Maybe they were like, look, maybe you guys don't really like each other. Go out and fucking do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it
conjecture
had a
again.
rawness.
I have no clue.
Yeah. But it had a rawness to it, but it also had a little bit of disconjointed promo abilities.
So Jeffrey Sills in the chat says, I still think we're getting the 4-way. I kind of feel that too. Oh, you think that?
A million percent. Yeah, 1,000,000%. But we'll get to that. Yeah. That's in the main event. We'll get to that.
Right.
So we go to the commercial. We come back and God bless America. Jump on my legs and tear my quad. We got the fucking women in the first match. Fuck shame.
Pair me with the Miz and tear my quad. I'm yeah.
Fuck him. Oh, it's the best. But we got Team DMD, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on the Outcasts, Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. And this was fun, right? I mean, we did our match. Kind of the same as we've been doing.
It was fine, and that's what I felt. And I came away, and again, I have the benefit of hindsight now, knowing what happens later in the show, but I remember thinking, I was like, man, they're really not moving along this storyline much. I need something more to happen. And we'll fill you in later on that as we go chronologically, of course. But
yeah, so now Team DMD wins because Britt Baker in Pittsburgh, by the way, that's the caveat I should have brought up, in Pittsburgh, got the lockjaw, got the lockjaw and made Ruby Soho tap. Now, the key here that we need to remember as we move forward is, and I don't know if it was said, but it was definitely shown, Jamie Hayter went out with an injury. So she gets rushed back to the backstage. Britt Baker doesn't even really do a true celebration. She rolls out of the ring and follows Jamie Hayter. So Jamie Hayter is hurt. Keep that in mind as we move on. So then after the match, we go backstage. Renee Paquette is interviewing Wardlow, and he says, hey, I had a horseman one time explain to me how to win these matches and how to overcome the odds. Well, essentially, that horseman isn't here anymore, Tully Blanchard. But I got another one in his place. And Arn motherfucking Anderson walks onto our TV screen. And I tell you what, it was the biggest pop of the night for me to see Arn Anderson back in AEW, at least on screen. And so we got, I guess, going forward, Wardlow and Arn Anderson. What do you think of that?
Maybe it'll help Wardlow, but yes, Arn Anderson is over, right? But I don't get the feel that Arn Anderson is over to the point to help make another person a baby face. Because Arn Anderson is still giving heelish promo advice, right? It's grab your gat and take this motherfucker's wallet so you're not the victim, right? Like, that's the advice he's giving him. And hey, if that's where we're going with Wardlow, I'll take it. But
yeah, that's what I was going to read the news. Apparently that's the way we're all going, is just shoot first and ask questions later. Side note. Anyhow, we'll get back on
just say you were scared.
That was
just say you were scared.
Hey, stand on my ground. I'm standing my ground.
Right.
What does that mean? I don't know.
Yep.
Shot him.
Guy looked at me. Fucking so I shot him.
Yeah. The lady pulled into my driveway accidentally. What the fuck do you think I was gonna do? Assholes. Anyhow. So yeah, then we get the Elite. And the Elite come out and they're on the microphone. And Kenny Omega, which is brought up by Bryan Danielson in just a moment here. But Kenny Omega said, hey, this is our interview time, but I don't have anything to say. So Blackpool Combat Club, come out here and fight us. And then that's when Bryan Danielson shows up on the big screen. He's like, you idiot, you have TV time and it's a promo. And you said, I have nothing to say, idiot. You know, and then again, going back to what, I mean, Kenny Omega did say he wanted to stab Jon Moxley with the screwdriver. Okay, right. And so as Bryan Danielson's talking his shit on the big screen, here comes the Blackpool Combat Club from behind, and they're all beating him up, beating him up, bah, 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 beating him up, beating him up, beating him up, bah, bah, bah. And as they're doing that, then Bryan Danielson makes his way with the screwdriver, and he's like, ha, 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 I'm gonna fuck you all up. And all the while, he is saying one thing where, you know, they're all amateurs, except for Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, you're the pro. Why the hell are you with these yahoos, essentially, right? And as he's walking into the ring with the screwdriver, Don Callis appears. And he runs out. And Bryan Danielson looks back. It's like, the hell are you going to do? Don Callis with the chair goes, oh, shit, I don't know. Throws the chair, Looney Tunes style, and then runs back, comes out with Takeshita. So I'll just stop right there. What did you think about Don Callis's part in this whole segment?
Man, I think you nailed it. Are we going to get Don Callis is leading Takeshita awry, maybe, right? Like he's unwilling heel territory now. I don't hate it. If anybody can pull it off, it's Don Callis.
Yes, 1,000,000%. And this has so many layers to it, which is so fascinating. So to get to the point here, Takeshita then realizes what's going on. The Blackpool Combat Club is jumping the Elite, and he runs down and he helps the Elite. He fends off the Blackpool Combat Club. However, he does not touch Bryan Danielson. He only says, get out of this ring, essentially, again, paraphrasing. So that's the interesting part, because let's review the last feud Bryan Danielson was in with MJF. Well, who was his BFF that was fighting off Brian Cage and Bandito, or not Bandito, but Roosh and all of those guys?
Roosh.
It was Takeshita, right? And so now Takeshita's on the other side of the fence with the Elite going up against Blackpool Combat Club. What do you make about Takeshita in this now?
Hey, look, this is more interesting than anything I feel like I've seen from Takeshita, so I'm here for it. I just want to dig deeper into this. Don Callis is like, no, man, you should do this thing. But yet we always know Don Callis is never doing it for the good of anybody else but Callis, himself. Right? Yeah.
And so here's the interesting thing. So let's kind of look at this with a pro wrestling eye. We will say, okay, we have the Blackpool Combat Club, which makes up of 4 members, Yuta, Moxley, Claudio, and Danielson. And on the other side, we have the Elite, who are only 3 people, Omega and the Young Bucks. So here comes Don Callis to say, hey, I got your 4th. It's Takeshita. He's pretty great, which, hey, look, he's pretty good. But let's not forget the screwdriver did not touch any of the Elite. It went into the eye of Hangman. So is Don Callis now saying, no, guys, Elite, let me talk to you. I get it. Hangman is mad, right? But he'll get his time, right? Right now, we need the fully 100% upstart Takeshita on our team.
Yeah, listen, he's not going to be worried about. He's going to be sat at the bar. He's in the gym training. He's
in the gym. He's not a liability. He has both eyes. Right. Everything's going to be fine.
We're not going to have to look for where he lost his horse. Like, it's going to be great. Right? Forgot where he parked his horse.
So what happens here? Now, I do want to bring this up. I saw this on Twitter. I actually retweeted it. Let me go to it real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
I love this idea from, let me see here. 1 second here. So as we're talking about this, man, we have
at
so
Table
many
Show
tweets.
on Twitter. Well, it's still exists.
At Table Show on
us.
Twitter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Headlock Comics, which if you were into comics, Headlock Comics, they do, or he does, amazing pro wrestling comics. Love it. Check it out. It's the only comic I've actually checked out. Anyhow, this is how he said it should go down. He goes, if I'm booking out Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite, they book a 4-on-4. Elite picks Hangman as their partner, snubbing Takeshita. Danielson then uses it to turn Takeshita as he joins Blackpool Combat Club. So now we have 5-on-4, and then Kenny brings in his golden lover, Ibushi, and then we get 5-on-5 blood and guts, because that's how blood and guts goes down. Huh? Because Ibushi has essentially said, I'm meeting with Tony Khan. He keeps on telling everyone every day what he's doing, like with no keeping it close to the vest. And he's essentially saying, like, I'm going to be coming to AEW.
I'm not
Great way to bring him in.
To me, I just always worry about those because I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess you don't have to worry about it. You just have to know that, like, this isn't for the long haul story, right? Like, these guys coming over from New Japan are here for a short time. They're here for a good time, not for a long time, right?
Ibushi left New Japan. Ibushi is saying, right, I'm going to sign with AEW.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Here's where I like it. And this is, again, going back to I want everyone to have representation in my favorite things, pro wrestling and MMA. It's not all white dudes fighting each other, right? Like, if we can get Takeshita, if we can get Hobbs, if we could get Ibushi, if we can get Keith Lee, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we can get different looking people than just white guy with a strong body, white guy with a less strong body, white guy tall, white guy short, like, I'm into that, right? Like, let's get away from just white guy that does flips, white guy that chops. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, come on, you know? So yes, I'm into the diversity angle of getting more people involved. So that I do like that. But yeah, shout out to Headlock Comics. I wanted to bring that up. That was a good idea. And again, follow him on all his social media and check out his comics if you're into that.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So then after all of that fun, we get our AEW TNT Championship match. Champion Powerhouse Hobbs taking on challenger and I guess hometown guy, apparently, Wardlow. What'd you make of this?
Man, we've stalled Powerhouse out, haven't we? Wow, we did so many things, and then his title's gone. He's still not finished his anger about the title getting stolen, right? Like what?
Well, his title didn't get stolen. He stole it from Wardlow.
No, but didn't they get? Oh yeah, Wardlow got to take it. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So then I guess that makes sense. Yeah, man. I don't. Wardlow ain't it, guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're doing again the push him to the moon thing, and we did it now in his hometown. I don't know if it was his hometown, but they kept on saying that's where he started his career, was in Pittsburgh. Fine, cool.
Powerhouse.
Wardlow's the guy.
This is a bad decision.
Yeah, Wardlow is the guy that you want. Powerhouse is the guy that you need. And here's the thing: the Powerhouse needs to. I hope after this loss, because it feels like he got lost in the shuffle. Because we'll talk about post match real quick, but. This is where Wardlow says, fuck this QTV bullshit. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. You're obviously not helping me. I'm fucking out of here. I'm wearing mink coats. I'm fucking putting baseball bats to people's backs. I'm the fucking man here. And then he leaves pages of a book because if you want to keep doing the Book of Hobbes bullshit. But like, Powerhouse needs a reset, and it's not QTV. Get QTV to be like a fucking thing that just goes around, but not around him. Now, Wardlow wins the match here in a very kind of Wardlow match. And after it's done, we get Christian Cage's music hit. And here comes out Kane.
I said this last week, right? I said go after Wardlow, but and look, if this was just so we can get that title on to Luchasaurus, well then whatever, right? If what you said is we're gonna get a reset of Powerhouse Hobbs, he's gonna come back as Willie Hobbs, right, or whatever, right? He's gonna come back in the mink coats. If he's got an entourage, cool. But if not, he's fine doing what he's doing by himself. And then we get Lucha Caneosaurus to just murder Wardlow and is on their rampage and nobody can take the title off of him. Okay, I can live with that. But I don't want to see a long, drawn-out feud between Wardlow and essentially Christian, right? I know it's Luchasaurus, but this is Christian, right? This Luchasaurus is wrestling in place of Christian.
Now, the angle that I forgot to bring up, and honestly, it was probably the pop of the night. As mentioned earlier, Arn Anderson was ringside with Wardlow. As our friend Cutie Marshall tried to get involved, Arn Anderson brought the Glock out, figuratively, and scared off Cutie Marshall. Penta comes down, and I was like, hey, remember how you tried to fuck me over? Get in there, bitch. And he runs off Cutie back into the ring, and we get a DDT from Arn Anderson onto Cutie. So, again, he's fighting on behalf of Wardlow. I'm to believe that is going to be a pairing. So what about the promo battles between grizzled old veteran Arn Anderson and less grizzled old veteran Christian Cage? What do you think about that?
Grizzling old veteran Christian.
Grizzling, yeah.
God, that could be great. Oh, that could be good.
That could be fun.
Yeah. If it was a couple weeks, I don't need it to be months. Let's get a good couple weeks in here.
Couple weeks in a pre-show paper match or pre-show pay-per-view match.
Says, I think Super Shredder Luchasaurus Kane is the next champ. Super Shredder. That's a good, he's Super Shredder.
Yeah, it's just, here's my biggest issue. And I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again because it's on my mind. Here's my biggest issue with Wardlow is you're perceiving or you're presenting him as the biggest, strongest, baddest. And physically, he's just not. He's not bigger, stronger, maybe faster, but he's not bigger, stronger than Powerhouse. He's obviously not bigger, stronger than Keith Lee. He's not bigger, stronger than Nick Camarado.
Luchasaurus Kane.
He's not bigger, stronger than Luchasaurus. So then you need to repackage it. And I know, saying this, that Taz is one of my favorite pro wrestlers, and he was 5'0", but his style was, I'm suplexing you in 37 different ways tonight. Boom, 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 boom. You're dropped on your head. Wardlow doesn't do that. Wardlow does a Young Buck style.
Powerbomb Symphony, yeah.
Well, the powerbomb thing, but like he does a swanton and he does power moves, but it's more on the lighter side.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's a disconnect for me is like, what you're selling me ain't what I'm getting. And so you got to change something up with whatever this presentation is. That's my biggest beef right now. All right. So after Luchasaurus and Christian Cage, we go backstage, and here's where it gets interesting, Tim. Renee Paquette is interviewing Sammy Guevara. Before he could even say a word, though, here comes MJF. And Sammy's like, of course this would happen. Sammy says to MJF, we're not friends. Okay, look. Sammy and MJF, we ain't on the same page. And then MJF counters with, well, what if we are? What if I help you get to the match, but you guarantee to lay down, and then you're on the pay-per-view? Sammy counters with, bullshit, I ain't doing that. And then this is the interesting thing. I want to know the number.
I know.
MJF grabs the checkbook, grabs a blank check, says, write down whatever number it is that you want, and I'll make it happen if you agree to the terms of getting to the pay-per-view and laying down for me. Sammy grabs the pen, writes some type of number that impresses Renee Paquette.
She was impressed.
She even does a.
She was like, "Yeah,
even
do
does a
that.
double
Yeah,
take.
that's good. Oh, yeah, I'd do it for that. Yeah, yeah."
MJF looks startled at the number, but then they do a handshake.
But he agrees to it. Like he's got it.
Now, here's the catch that I think is obvious, probably going to happen. But here's the fun thing about that is they try to do the handshake, and Sammy's like, "We don't handshake, we hug." And they do this weird hug where MJF is like, "Okay," and Sammy's essentially a shit-eating wild man here, going like, "I want to fuck you over after you give me that money," So we'll see what happens there, and we'll talk about it in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we go back.
This was all good. This was all done well. I loved it all.
Yeah. What any other comments about kind of how?
No, I like that the way you mentioned it, how it all played out. Like it just felt very realistic, right? It was just, It was like, all right, well, I'll write this number down. And then she was even like, fuck yeah. Like, yeah, if he's dumb enough to pay you that. And then he's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
All right.
Fine, whatever. You fucking expensive piece of shit. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, really good. All right. And so then we go back into the ring. And here we get the in-ring debut as an official member of AEW. Switchblade, Jay White taking on Commander.
Commander, right? Isn't that what they all keep saying?
Commander. Sure.
Fuck it. Brooke.
Yeah. I mean, look, I thought, so Switchblade wins, right? I thought, though, Commander, however we're saying it, was the star in Jay White's debut match.
Yeah, to me, this whole thing it's another one of those where if I'm like, hey, want to watch some pro wrestling? And people are like, what is that? I'm like, watch this match. Solid, right? These guys laid it all out. They hit hard. They did the flips. They had some good choreographed spots. Crowd was into it. But that's all it was, right? Like, this is like, to me, it's like, hey, it's filler. We got to see some action next, right? Nothing really was storyline developing here. So to me, it was just it was an exhibition match, if you will, right? Which it's not. I understand we're supposed to be watching a thing where this would matter in rankings and so on and so forth. But
yeah. Now, I think the purpose of this was to do the post match, but in the match itself, my biggest beef was I came away with this going like, I think that Commander could probably beat him 9 times out of 10. This was just the 10th time where Switchblade won. Like, he looked more impressive. It was just some whatever the fuck his move is, the Sister Abigail or whatever he calls it, and he wins, right? And
Father
here's
Agnes.
A quick side quest. Yeah, Father Agnes is what old Switchblade does here. Here's a quick side quest, though. I've been doing a tad bit. Not going to tell you I've been researching his first match, stuff like that. But I've been doing a bit of a deep dive on Switchblade Jay White because everyone fucking tells me this fucking guy. Well, I want to know. No, well, I want to know. That's the thing. Because I've been wrong before, right? I was wrong on Kenny Omega. I didn't understand it. Now I do. He's one of the best in the world, right? He wasn't in my top 6, but he's still one of the best in the world. In the top 20, I'm probably taking him, right? So I was wrong. I've been wrong in the past. Young Bucks have impressed me more than I like to admit, right? So I wanted to see, okay, Switchblade. I don't want to hate this guy right off the bat, but I kind of don't like him. So what is it about this fucking guy? And his matches are good. I'm not going to tell you that they're fucking bad, but as anyone who's listened knows that we're not moves guys. We don't fucking care about the moves. So I've been paying attention a little bit more to his interviews, and I get it. He's in Japan, so it's not a true translation to like what that would be like in America. However, he gives me really strong Finn Balor vibes where he's doing the promo, and instead of saying, I'm upset to get you riled up, he'll say, I'm fucking upset. And okay. Like, I cuss every other word. I don't fucking care. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. And I'm kind of unimpressed. Like, he's fine. And I get it. He's not American. So maybe I'm doing some myopic thing of he needs to be American, but like his promos weren't that impressive. He just cusses to cuss. And his matches are fun.
I haven't seen anything yet. I'm not closed off to him. I just don't, like, he hasn't caught my eye yet. I feel like he's another solid player. I'm not going to complain when he's out there doing his thing outside of if maybe we could have used this time for something that was building a story.
I'll say this right off the jump, though, because it feels like I know what they're going to do for the pay-per-view. And if Ricky Starks comes out on the short end of this stick with Jay White, that's the wrong move. That is 1,000,000% the wrong move. And here's the prime example. Example A, if we were in a case and I had to defend Ricky Starks, here's example A. So post-match. Outside the ring, Sean Spears is doing his 10 gimmick again. And he says this match was a 5, I think, or maybe a 6, whatever it was. Well, rock hard, brain dead caveman, he grabs him and he starts hitting him and he throws him over the barricade and they're hitting him. And then he throws him into the ring, which brings out absolute Ricky Starks. And here's the coolest fucking moment of the night. Ricky Starks runs out with sunglasses. Ricky Starks slides into the ring with sunglasses. Ricky Starks ducks a clothesline from Juice Robinson and
with sunglasses.
With sunglasses, and spears Jay White with sunglasses, and then gets up with sunglasses.
With sunglasses. Yeah.
He's the coolest fucking guy in this whole feud. Like, yeah. I get what you're trying to do with Switchblade. Look at my hand. I do a thing like this, but it's Ricky Starks. Who's the fucking man here? Like, it's Ricky Starks. So yeah. What do you
Jay
make of
White
this? Sean
looks
Spears,
like the guy
all that stuff
who tries to sell you an old IROC Z, and while you're there also wants to sell you some of his crystals, right? Like he's trying to sell you, right?
Yeah. To me, he feels like the guy that you start in your starting 5 of basketball, and then when the game is tied, you say, you take the shot, Switchblade, and he misses.
Yeah.
You think he's going to make it, but he ain't.
He's going to show up to the party, and he's going to have a necklace that's like a dragon claw grabbing like a gazing ball, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. But yeah, he's not it. He's not it for me. Ricky Starks is it. Here's a good one. If we're going outside of sports, Switchblade seems like the guy that talks himself out of getting laid, where the girl really likes him and he wants to keep telling you about the dragon medallion he has on his necklace. And then the girl goes, okay, well, I guess I gotta go.
He's got a lot to talk about, like the Freemason conspiracy, right? Like he won't shut up about it. So the girl's like, all right, well, listen, I'm going to go with that guy with the sunglasses and go lay him tonight.
Yeah. He seems really cool. Yeah. Ricky Starks, the guy with the sunglasses. But so what do you make of Sean Spears in this thing? Is he going to be true to Ricky Starks, or you think he's
listen, Sean Spears has always held a little special place in my heart, right? Like I can't help but not like Sean Spears. But I do feel that like, man, I don't know what we're going to do with him in the moment, you know?
This is it.
Yeah, but to me, like, that's not you know what I mean? That's not meaningful or impactful, right?
Yeah.
The guns, the Pew Pew Club, that whole thing. Sean Spears, he's also a unique spot. Like, I said he holds a special place in my heart, but I'm not like, we need to put a world title on Sean Spears, right? It's just a guy that, like, every time I see him, I'm like, fucking Sean Spears. Love that guy, right? Like, and I just need that little dose of him each time. He's, like, almost before they start putting Orange Cassidy in like banger match after banger match, where you just got that kind of like that little snippet of him. Like that's kind of what I think you get with Sean Spears. He's Pillman-esque, where he's like, he's a little off, right? But he's the chairman. He's 10. Like we love it, right? All the little quirks.
That's why I think he's joining the Bullet Club Gold or whatever the fuck we're calling it, because he's going to be the one where Jay White goes, I don't need to deal with this. And Sean Spears, similar to what he did with MGF, goes like, well, then I'll fucking hit him with the chair. And then they're like, hey, man, calm down. And he's like, I'm going to hit him with the chair. They're like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Because Ricky Starks is a man that needs to stand alone. He's done enough of and look, I love Powerhouse Hobbs. I love Hook. I love Taz. But like, he's fucking right. You know what I mean? He's right here. So like, get him away from any type of faction. So that's why I think that's going to happen. All right. Then we get something that's kind of confusing because why aren't you watching your show? But Renee Paquette interviews FTR And she says to him, hey, by the way, before the show even started, we got footage. Mark Briscoe got jumped. Did you see that? And FTR apparently all of a sudden never walked by the training room and had to dart 10 yards. So fucking Mark Briscoe was just
10 yards away, and nobody got word to them. Like, hey, did you hear Mark Briscoe got jumped? Like, nothing.
They didn't walk by the room to see Mark Briscoe with an ice pack on his neck, but
maybe they were too busy like finishing their paperwork from all the tickets they wrote earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Well, here's where, if you want to talk about another kind of group, this is what I'm already pissed off about. So they go in there to check on Mark Briscoe, and fucking Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt and whatever. We're going to get
New
some
age
bullshit.
oddities.
Yeah. What we're getting, though, and this is what it has to be in his contract because he hasn't fucking earned it. But we're going to get FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett for a tag team championship match. Fuck out of here. No, they did that with the Acclaimed. No one fucking liked it. Well,
yeah, that's where we're going with this, isn't it? Right? Because that's yeah. Because they agree because Mark wants all of his friends to go fight for him because he can't go. I like that. Even though Mark Briscoe isn't pulling it off well, he's like, I can go, right? And they're like, no, you can't go. And he's like, no, I can, right? Like, sure, I can't go. Yes, we're sure you can't go, right? Like, all right, fine. I'm gonna go, right? Like, we're good. They're like, no, you can't wrestle. Yeah, I like it.
and I like Mark Briscoe and I like FTR. Get them the fuck away from Jay Lethal and Jeff. You know where Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett need to be? Ring of Honor. Go fucking be the champs over there or do the shit with them.
And take your whole act. Take that whole. I'd send. Leave me Sanjay. There's use for him, right? We can have him doing some manager work for some folks, but the rest of them can bounce.
Pencil.
Yeah.
Get them working with Tony Nese and fucking Josh.
Yeah, if I had to keep one, I'm keeping Sanjay, but let's send him over to Ring of Honor. Works better over there.
Yeah, I'm just done with him. Don't like him. But anyhow, all right, so that happened. And then we move on. Chris Jericho makes his entrance to the ring. We go to commercial break. Then Adam Cole comes out. And Adam Cole says, hey, before we even start, got respect for you. By the way, you know this, but the baby comes from you. And Chris Jericho's like, paraphrasing again here, yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't care.
I'm glad you said all that because I've been wanting to say that I don't fucking respect you, right? Like, is basically what he said. Yeah.
So he says you suck. And then Cole says, well, I think you suck because you're not really the person you are. Kind of what everyone says about Chris Jericho. I want the real Chris Jericho. I want the Lionheart and all that shit. Right? Yeah. Then they fight.
Well, I did like what Adam Cole, though, when he was like, all right, well, fine, whatever. Like, you said, like, let's fucking talk it out or whatever. So, okay, right? Like, he just gets him in his face. He's like, so now what? Right? What? Right? Like, I did like that. I like that. I like that point where he was just
that angle.
Don't sing it, bring it, right?
Yeah, that angle of, well, you asked me to come here. I didn't ask you to come here. So what do you got to say? But then it goes into a brawl. Garcia comes out, jumps Adam Cole. And so it's Adam Cole and Chris Jericho just putting the boots to Adam Cole. Or it's Daniel Garcia and Jericho taking the boots to Adam Cole, which brings out Britt Baker. And Britt Baker says, Chris Jericho, you asshole, smack you in the face. And then one of the cooler reveals, because they came out from under the ring, but it looked like they just came from the earth. Right. Here comes the Outcast, and they come in and they jump Britt Baker. Meanwhile, Garcia handcuffs Adam Cole to the bottom rope
in the weirdest way that I've ever seen.
The worst way possible. I don't know he's never been in handcuffs or used them, so we know that's not his kink.
I mean, it worked. It worked. I'm going to give him that.
Yeah, but it was a roundabout way to get there.
Yeah.
And then Saraya, look. So quick side quest, then we'll finish off what we're saying here. But I get it. We're all friends here. It seems like we're all really buddy in AEW, except for a few small group of you, CM Punk, right?
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. But if you're going to do Adam Cole's crying his eyes out and Britt Baker's just needing Adam Cole for strength, fucking murder her.
Yeah.
These were the softest, nicest, most considerate kendo sticks I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I wish there was a little more realism to it because I love what they did here, right? Because we've talked about this where when we can intersect the storylines, because it's a traveling circus of folks, because it furthers the female storyline over here, but it also furthers this storyline because he's like, yeah, I made you get, like, now I'm more mad because you made me watch this other group. Like, you sold out my wife. You knew my wife was going to come out to help, and you just sold her out and at my expense. So I had to sit here and watch it. Like, it's that part of the theater was magnificent. The beatdown left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, this is where, because look, I was there, so this is where my brain went to. But in Kansas City, they did Randy Orton beats up Stephanie McMahon while Triple H is handcuffed to the rope. Now I know that's a man on a woman, so like it's going to look more intense, but like he fucking went after it, right? Like he, gave her I think it was an RKO. And to his credit, Triple H looked like he acted like she got shot.
Feet on the rope DDT that he did.
Yeah,
right?
And then he kissed her.
That's what he did. Yeah.
Then he kissed her. Yeah.
Oh,
and
that was some good stuff.
Yeah, and Triple H, like I said, credit to him. He acted
looked like he was going to fucking rip his arm off. Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was going to rip his arm off to get to Randy Orton. It looked like Randy Orton had just killed her 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, so Triple H was the best of all time. So, I mean, it's a bit of a unfair comparison. But, yeah.
The real thing that kind of made me go out of the moment was honestly Saraya going like, and here's one. And here's another one. Because like Jericho, you could hear say, hit her again. And she's like, okay, one more. And it's like, do you not want to do this?
Yeah, right.
Like, what the fuck, right? Like, fucking hit her, So they leave and they're hugging.
If we would have had Anna JS, she'd be out here choking her out.
Yeah, Anna JS will hit you with a kendo stick. She'll choke you out as well. So again, the moment here is in Pittsburgh. You got Britt Baker reaching out for Adam Cole reaching out for Britt Baker.
Yeah, now, whoever wrote this up, great. The how they performed it, give it a B, right?
Yeah. So it was good because it was explained earlier that Jamie Hayter was hurt, so she's not going to come out and help.
Took me a while to remember that too, because I remember I was like, where the fuck is Hayter? Why wouldn't Hayter come out? Oh, yeah. She was fucking tore up.
However, where the fuck was Keith Lee?
Well, where also was Rio with a pipe? Where was Willow?
No, yeah. Where were they? I didn't even think about the women. I was just thinking of Keith Lee. Where the fuck is Keith Lee?
Where's pipe wielding Rio? She would have cleared that whole ring out.
I forgot about the women. Yeah, where were these people? Yeah, you needed to explain that, right? You could have even, you know what you could have done? Let's just hypothetically say, peek behind the curtain. None of them traveled, right? Tony Khan tried to save on a couple flights, not using Keith Lee, not using Rio, not using Willow.
Well, I mean, who wants to go to Pittsburgh if they're not on the card?
I mean, no, you ain't lying. You could have easily done this, though, because as soon as this segment's over, the other part of JAS walks out. But before that, you could have just done a thing where the locker room is locked out by JAS, and you could have had banging on the door. Jake
Hager is holding the door by himself, right?
And it's Keith Lee.
He's holding one side of the door. His hat is holding the other side of the door.
Yeah.
Can't get through.
But like, just explain it that way, right? The lockers for both Keith Lee and the female locker room have been locked by JAS. And then you hear banging. That's why they can't come out.
Yeah. Matt Menard and fucking all them. They could have been back there with broomsticks in the doors. Easy money.
Yes. Easy.
Where was
Rebel?
Rebel?
Didn't explain that.
Jeffrey Sill says, where's Reba?
Reba would have been like Don Callis and walked out and be like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck to do. And then
tour quad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh God. That would have been great.
Yeah. Who's the female that's going to do that? Quad.
Yeah. Who's the female that's going to do that? Stephanie. Okay. So then after that,
it's going to be Stephanie. She's going to have a match against fucking Bianca Belair. She's going to tear a quad.
She's gonna try to be as athletic as
athletic as she's gonna try to do a pedigree and tear a quad on the way down.
I hope so. All right, so then right before the main event, we get our kind of filler match here.
God damn it! I hope this happens. I need this at next year's WrestleMania. Let's book Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Everyone rips their quad at a big pay-per-view.
Jeffrey Sill says maybe this is what makes Britt turn heel and be the Hulk Hogan of the Outcast.
So good thought. But now I've changed my tune. Changed my whole tune. I don't think you can do that kind of. It's Jamie Hayter. I don't think you can do that kind of a beatdown on Britt Baker. And then she goes like, I love these bitches. Jamie Hayter has only done little fist fights with them. I think Jamie Hayter goes.
So injured. I can't. Oh.
Yeah. And then eventually she just goes, well, you're weak. Look at what you keep running into. And your boyfriend's weak too.
Maybe you forgot. I'm the champ.
And I'm strong as shit. Yeah. And fuck, I don't like Rebel either.
You're just
and
a
then
hater.
Just leaves him. Yeah. And again, we could always go back to as far as like if we want to do promo packages, which AEW needs to up their game on. You could always do that. Jamie Hayter never did the DMD, right? Every time they do DMD, she never fucking does it. So she's never
you knew this was coming. I was only here because you paid me.
I was only here because I used you. Because look where I'm at now. I'm the champ.
Yeah.
And
you paid me and I used you. And now where I'm at. Yeah, now our contract is done.
I think it's Jamie Hayter. So anyhow. We get right before the main event, we get Billy Gunn and the Acclaim taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society. Acclaim Billy Gunn win. That's fine.
Except we got Billy Gunn on camera, suck my dick as he's like thrusting into Hager's face.
Yeah,
I love that Taz was like,
Billy Gunn doesn't
direct or whatever he said. He was like, subtle.
Yeah. He's great. He's still bigger than 90% of the roster in AEW.
But he's out of his mind too. You can tell he was just in the zone. He didn't even realize cameras were on. He was just like, and then he was like, "You fucking suck my dick." Just
yeah.
Oh, he was on one. He just shot up before he came out.
Yeah, the needle was just coming out of his ass as he was walking out. But what do you do with the Acclaimed here? So they're kind of what? What do we do?
Yeah, I know. That's my worry we're starting to get to the point where I've said about Acclaim, like, okay, you didn't always need the titles, but they lost the titles and now they're doing the thing and the daddy ass is just as over as they are. But like at some point, less and less people are going to be like, yay, scissor me, right? Like it's going to be tired at some point. So what do we do? And I don't know what that is right now because again, FTR is the champs. We're not going to do that with them. I don't think we're not. There's not really a whole lot else, right? Young Bucks are face right now. They're wrapped up in a storyline. What would you do here? How do you get the Acclaimed out of this to keep them up top tier level?
I turn them heel. And I'd say, hey, the other, I would almost have them. So FTR is your champions, right? It looks like they're going to do Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. So right out of the gate, like if I'm going next week, I say they position themselves as a trios group and they say, hey, we had the tag team champions, but we love Billy Gunn. He's the one that really won us the title too. But like, if you think about it, he really won us the title. So we need to do this with him this time. And then the first feud you do it with Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy and the scissoring and whatever the fuck that would happen. Danhausen there trying to curse maybe Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
Right there. That's why
they bring some garden scissors and they're like, hold on.
Yeah. What the hell is this? Yeah. Yeah. We didn't talk about garden scissors. Like, what? This is scissor, right? Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I would do that immediate. And then from there, maybe spooky time with the Acclaimed and you get the House of Black turning lights on, turning lights off and seeing what Max Caster will say about them in Raps walking to the room.
Not bad. That's not bad. I like that. Yeah. Trios. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now we get to our main event, and it was kind of cut and dry, but we'll still talk about it. So it was the AEW World Championship #1 Contenders Tournament semifinals. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or Jungle Jack, as people are starting to call him, which I like, Jungle Jack, takes on Sammy Guevara, and we have a match. And it ends with wrestle. Right. And then there's a drop kick to Jungle Jack's face that takes him through the timekeeper's table because he was up on the top rope. And then Bryce Remsburg, he's counting 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, and then he gets almost to 10. Jungle Boy tries to jump in. Apparently, though, he forgot how to count because he has to hold Sammy Guevara back, which made no fucking sense. and just loses his sense of where the fuck he is, starts holding Sammy Guevara back, which then brings out MJF, pulls out Jungle Boy, hits him with Dynamite Diamond Ring. 1, 2, 3, 10. Jungle Jack loses the match because of a count out.
Jungle Jack sounds like Jack Daniels is trying to be hip and market themselves to Gen Z with like a fruity line of Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Or, no, I shouldn't say that. That's racist. Yep, it totally sounds like
Yeah, okay, we'll stick with what I said.
Caught myself.
Yeah, I think, again, all of this, I think, is fodder for we're going to get a four-way, right? They're going to keep doing these shenanigans. Tony Khan's going to have to step in and be like, look, tournament, whatever, but you've been impacting the results. You've been paying people off. You've been whatever, right? And here's MJF saying, Tony Khan and I are friends. And he's like, we're not friends. We're business partners. And I lead this business, and I say you're facing all four of the people, right? I think that's what we're getting.
Or all three. Yeah.
Yeah, all three, yeah.
100%. Going back to the comments, Jeffrey Sills says about the Acclaimed, they're going to do a big title match or big time match for the Acclaimed once they turn heel and face FTR at Wembley. Imagine hearing 90,000 singing Scissor
that's
Me
going to
Daddy.
be so amazing. Yeah.
Possibly. I'm still thinking whatever. Look, I called it the first time. It's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. We see the fucking rumors. I still think it's going to be CMFTR taking on the Elite at Wembley. But then I still think we got to do scissor, right? London needs to do the scissoring. That's where I would do.
You're still going to get 90,000 people doing, but yeah, as a 6-man, up against
House spooky House of Black, that would be what I would do. And then then his last comment here is Jack Boy Jungle.
Yeah,
let's call him that too. Why not?
Yeah, listen, I get the Jungle Boy is unique because if you're just like Jack Perry, and people, it's a nondescript name that sounds basic that people aren't going to like attach onto necessarily. Now maybe you can go Jack Perry, son of Luke Perry, and then some old folks remember and they go, oh yeah. But Jungle Boy at least is people like Jungle Boy. What's that mean? And then you go, oh well, he was.
Well, the thing that's missing is it's a boy and his dinosaur, right? That was the thing. That's why we call him Jungle Boy.
He doesn't do the jungle thing anymore. He's not coming out in the loincloth and all of that.
Right.
So it doesn't fit. I agree. But Jack Perry, it does sound like a uniquely, like if you were trying to make up a name to get out of being in trouble because security was holding on to you. And they're like, what's your name? You're like, that's Jack Perry. And they're like, all right, stand right here, Jack. And you're like, sure thing, pal. And you fucking run out the back door, right?
Well, yeah, it sounds like a villain for James Bond. Right? Oh, Jack Perry with the newest secret security for Russian intel or whatever.
Yeah. Or just sounds like just sounds like your insurance broker, right? Jack Perry.
Jack Perry and Associates. If you've been in a car wreck, call Jack Perry and Associates.
Come on down to Jack Perry Auto. We've got the hottest in new and used Toyotas, Hondas.
All right, so then post-match, Max and Sammy do a live sex celebration. They start humping on each other for like 4 minutes. That was fun. Love seeing that. Two guys happy with
diversity.
Being around each other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, love it. Why not? And that's it. They just celebrate.
That's it.
That happened.
We didn't get any major cliffhangers this week. I think as you kind of asked, you were like, on paper, this should feel like a banger, but it felt a little flat. But I think it's because like we didn't necessarily get, I wouldn't say we got no storyline progression. We got some storyline progression, but we didn't get anything that's like major, shocking, page turner. I think the biggest kind of like, whoa, that happened was the Britt Baker, Adam Cole, JS Outcast situation, right? Because it was kind of this, here's these two, and then all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, remember this feud? We're going to beat them up, but he cares because they're married, right? So that was kind of it, right? So that's where I feel like, yeah, this wasn't an all-timer, but I don't feel like this was bad. I feel like we got a good show here.
Oh, it was very good. Yeah, look, this is better than any episode of Raw or SmackDown. I don't give a shit what you say. Not you, but general you. Yeah, I think, the segment of the night was supposed to be Britt Baker and Adam Cole. However, it was underperformed. I think if this was not a live pro wrestling show, we probably would have done a take 2 and said, let's turn up the intensity, right? And then I think they being Tony Khan and the decision makers, were really wanting a powerhouse lost. It's Wardlow's time again. And it's just, okay. Okay. Neat. Swell. Look, I'll say it again. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face and something else better happens. But we got a guy that has a war with God, and that can go babyface or heel. And that would sure look great as the TNT champ again. Way better than Wardlow or Luchasaurus.
Yes,
Apparently,
I need some Miro in my life.
Yeah, apparently, if you're reading what the gossip sheet guys are writing, or girls, he said no. He keeps saying no because he doesn't want to lose. Which, if that's true, bro, it's not real.
Yeah.
No one keeps track of this as far as records. I mean, they do, but like they shouldn't because it's
but we don't.
theater.
We don't need to.
Yeah. You think the Harlem Globetrotters are keeping track of their fucking points per night? Like, it's fucking theater here. God bless America. Anyhow, so that was AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, like I said, Jeffrey still said it was mid. I'll agree with that. It was pretty mid, but mid's, it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Yes. And I think another thing that we're spoiled with is it's mid to the standards of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fucking show that Wrestle Talk gives a 92% because, oh my God, Matt Riddle fucking did great. Yeah. Oh my God, SmackDown. Yeah, this is a fucking all-timer for those piece of shit shows. But AEW keeps on hitting fucking homers, and this was a double, which is a good. Hey, you got on base, you got a double, but like it's not a home run. You know what I mean? So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim, you know what? I'll tell you what, as we kind of wrap up here, I absolutely loved our fantasy draft of our 6 picks for starting a promotion. As mentioned at the top of the show, we got a suggestion from a longtime listener, my wife, who said we should do a fantasy draft that coincides with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown's draft. So we might be doing that. So be on the lookout. And as always, check out SpanishAnnounceTable.substack.com.
The Spanish Announce Table.